all of us have some sort of baggage that we're carrying from our past relationships, whether we'd like to admit it or not. And so the goal is, how do we reclaim our confidence, or for some of us, claim confidence for the first time, when we feel like we've never had it, or we haven't had it in a long time, or, I'm a different person than I was before I got, married or had kids or what have you. And so I would say that confidence fundamentally is not a delusion of grandeur. It's not, I'm awesome because I say I'm awesome, although there is an element of that. Confidence fundamentally comes from competence. Some of us may have heard that before, where the idea that, if you're really good at a thing, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's sports. I don't care if it's statistics. I don't care if it is engineering. I mean, whatever that thing is for you. If I woke you up at like 3 a.m. and I shook you awake and you're like, why the fuck are you in my house? And I was like, don't worry about it. Tell me this thing. And you're like, all right. And you could just do it. Like, as disoriented as you are and confused as you are, you can just do the thing. You can explain the thing. That's a level of competence that if I said, hey, under normal circumstances where I'm not breaking into your home to prove a point, could you explain this? And you're like, yeah, I absolutely could. Cool. That's confidence. Do you follow so far? So if I said to you, perfect. So if I said to you, do you have the confidence to go up and approach that girl? Now, an extroverted person would, say, yeah, I probably could. An extroverted person with low neuroticism is like, fuck it, come whatever may. Let's see what happens. I'm going to do it. Sure, that's confidence. That's confidence that it's not going to ruin your night, at least. How about that? That's confidence that you can do the thing, not necessarily yield the result. Hold on, I'm going to switch chairs. Okay, so that's confidence that you can do the thing, not necessarily achieve the result. That's a really, really good distinction to remember, right? Because if I said, hey, go and approach that girl and see if she's single or not, could you do that? It's like, well, I don't know, like, do I just go up and do it directly? It's that level of uncertainty that removes confidence. And so if we had pure certainty in our ability to do a thing repeatedly, over and over and over and over and over again, that we know at least 9 times out of 10 we can get the result, you'll feel pretty damn confident if I said, hey, go do that thing. Tracking? To me, that's confidence. So, confidence is a matter of action that is then rewarded neurochemically. We'll just say chemically. Cool. Yes, I do have doctor's handwriting. Okay, so neurochemically, what does that mean? That means dopamine. So let's write that down. Dopamine, there we go. Serotonin. Whoops. Is it serotonin or serotonin? I should know this. I want to say it's serotonin. There we go, serotonin, that looks right. Oxytocin and endorphin. Now, fun fact, here's how you can tell if somebody's full of shit when they're trying to sound smart. If they confuse oxytocin and dopamine, there we go, then they're just trying to sound smart. They have no idea how it works. Or if somebody says endorphins, there's no such thing. It's not how that works. It's endorphin. So, you get dopamine when you are motivated to do something and the result happens, right? So if you're, I don't know, you're talking to this girl, you meet her at the bar, she's gorgeous, and you're like, oh my God, I think I can get laid tonight. This is exciting. That's dopamine. This is exciting, that feel-good high of like, I'm going to get this thing, that's dopamine, okay? The serotonin is, well, I guess I should explain dopamine a little further. Dopamine is the motivational chemical. We call it the reward chemical, and fair enough, but fundamentally it's motivation. It's the thing that compels you to achieve a result. And I'll go into these much deeper. So, brief overview, and then I'll go into each of these deeply. Serotonin, I would call it a barometer for how significant you feel amongst your peers, as weird as that sounds. So if you feel like a piece of shit, nobody cares about you, you don't understand anybody, nobody understands you, you have very low serotonin. Like you're depressed, fundamentally. By the way, serotonin is functionally, like deeply associated with your level of depression. So low serotonin correlates with depression. We used to believe that it was the cause of depression, but we no longer think that's the case. And worse, we still have no exact idea of what it is. But for now, we'll just say low serotonin equals depression. High serotonin equals not depression. That's why SRIs, serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs. Yeah, it has everything to do with serotonin. Anyways, oxytocin. Oxytocin is the love and trust chemical. Many of you have heard me talk about this because I talk about it during the free coaching call that everyone, who's here has probably had. Oxytocin gets triggered through laughter, touch, deep conversation, and sex. Okay? And endorphin is the brain's natural painkiller. So if you go for a run or you go hiking, that feeling that you get after putting your body through physical hell, that runner's high, that's endorphin. When you go to the gym and you have a pump, for those of us that hate cardio, and you're like, yeah, I feel fucking good, that's endorphin. Right? Now, if you look in the mirror and you're flexing your body and you're kind of checking out your gains, you might get a little bit of serotonin in there too, but like fundamentally that feel-good pump is endorphin. Okay, so let's run this back. What the hell is confidence? Confidence is action repeated and rewarded. What does rewarded mean? Does it mean you get the result? Yes. Okay. But what does that mean to your brain, to your nervous system? It means that one of these was triggered. Now, if you do this over and over and over, you trigger a neural pathway to not only be built, but reinforced. So I'll give you an example. For those of you that hate going to the gym, as an example, okay? It's like pulling teeth. You don't like it, you feel like you have to force yourself to do it, or better yet, to approach a woman. It's probably more universally relatable here, right? To approach a woman when you have no idea what to say. That's frightening, it's scary, you don't know what to do. Well, first of all, I guess now is a good time to talk about cortisol. Let's just write it over here. Cortisol. All right. Cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. It's the stress chemical, fundamentally. And cortisol, from an evolutionary perspective, is designed to keep you alive even though we all hate it. Here's how it does that. When you're stressed, your body, as we know, goes into fight, flight, or freeze. Now, the reason it does that is because if you sit there and think and analyze, like, man, how the hell did a tiger get here? That's strange. You're gonna die. You don't have time to analyze. In a life or death situation, as far as your body and brain is concerned, you just have to act. The problem is, in modern society, we don't have tigers that we're locked inside of cages with. We have an attractive girl that could reject us publicly, socially, and that's scary. Why? Because if you're kicked out of a tribe, your chances of survival are radically diminished. We are hyper-social creatures. In fact, so much so that the worst thing you can do to the worst criminals of all history, the worst thing you can do to them is put them in maximum confinement solitude. You isolate them from all human interaction, period. That's how hyper-social creatures we are as humans. So, cortisol, stress hormone designed to force you to react. What does that mean? That means that when cortisol triggers, your brain does not have as much access to the prefrontal cortex as it should, as it normally would. And that's why when you're stressed, it feels like your brain is running at 1,000,000 miles an hour, because maybe it is because of adrenaline, but also you can't really think straight. And you feel like you're thinking in circles, and you're trying to think your way out of anxiety or depression or what have you. And your brain's coming up with nothing. Cortisol is the reason. From an evolutionary perspective, cortisol is designed, its very purpose is to shut down access to your ability to think. That means we need to be very, very, very proactive about our action. Because if we know that we're going to go out and force ourselves, challenge ourselves rather, to go out and do something outside of our comfort zone, that cortisol is going to be triggered and we are not going to be the most efficient at it. Especially if we're high in trait neuroticism, which is sensitivity to negative emotions. So it helps to have a game plan. It helps to have, a list of indirect openers to use, so that way you know what you're going to say under specific situations. It helps to do the throwaway compliment that most of you have heard about from the free coaching call, but I'll review it here briefly. There's two forms of approach. Direct, which is, hey, I think you're cute, can I get your number? That's direct. Very scary for most people. Cortisol kicks in. It's why you seem nervous and sweaty and all that. Indirect is, it's very casual. There's no sexual or romantic stake involved whatsoever. In fact, most people won't even notice that, you're using a line if you do it right. So a situational opener would be something like, the universal one, because we all kind of relate to it, is someone's being rude to the bartender, and you're like, man, I can't fucking stand when people are rude to waitstaff and bartenders. You say that loud enough, and people will jump in conversation with you and be like, yeah, dude, I agree. It drives me crazy. Right? Like that just happens every single time. Right? You walk into a bar, gorgeous girl comes in with a low top, and you make a comment, there's a dude next to you, you say it loud enough, he'll jump into. Right? Just that kind of thing. It's a situational opener. And so if you know that you have various means to start conversation by understanding how indirect openers work, and then the attraction formula, which is Saturday's call, how to run that basically, then you have a means of action that you can rely on that works so you can be rewarded through action and neurochemical. Okay, so we kind of went on a long tangent on sort of how to talk to women. How does this help you get over your ex? Okay, it's worth understanding how oxytocin works. So let me find the eraser. There we go. You know what? No eraser. We'll use purple. Oxytocin. Okay. Oxytocin is the love and trust chemical. Dopamine, as we said before, is the motivational chemical. If you wanted to become an alcoholic, how would you do it? Genuinely asking, this is not rhetorical. Anyone can chime in.
I would just start drinking again.
Right. That's exactly it. You drink, you feel good, you get dopamine, and then you just do it over and over, day after day, night after night. You, like, maybe you take breaks here and there. Maybe you give yourself a day off. I don't know. Take a sabbatical on Sunday. But like, if you want to become an alcoholic, keep doing something that rewards you immensely, and you'll just, it'll be so hardwired into your nervous system that once you try to stop, it feels like death. Now, the thing about dopamine is it doesn't care how or what you're using to get it. The only thing it cares about, the only thing it wants is more of itself. So when people are like, you can't be a sex addict. Yes, you can, because it has everything to do with dopamine. And if you think that you can only become addicted to something because it has additive chemicals in it, you know nothing about addiction. It's called a behavioral addiction, and it's more powerful than chemical addictions by far. Smoking does give you nicotine, but it also gives you dopamine. Coffee gives you caffeine, but it also gives you dopamine. Gambling, dopamine. Alcohol, dopamine. Sex, dopamine. Anything that you have to do, to chase, to get, and be rewarded for, Dopamine. Like waiting for a text message that you've been waiting 2 or 6 hours from and you thought she ghosted you, but she didn't. You're like, oh fuck, thank God. Whew, she does like me. Dopamine. Okay. Now, when you're overcoming an addiction to something based on dopamine, you go through withdrawal because your brain has reinforced that neural pathway so fucking strongly. And I mean reinforced. It is a physical thing that exists in your brain that once it no longer gets to be used because it's on autopilot, there's a deep science behind that I would love to explain, but it's a little off topic. But it no longer gets to fire as periodically, as regularly as it wants. But it still tries because it's an electrical impulse. So it's like a muscle that's twitching. It's like it wants to do the thing, but your prefrontal cortex won't let you. And so really what's interesting is when you get stressed, you lose access to your prefrontal cortex. And so you're more likely to divulge into the action. That's how insidious this shit is. Okay. What does that have to do with oxytocin? The main point of getting over our ex. Oxytocin is the love and trust chemical. Except when we fall in love, it is a form of high. We get high off of our love and connection that we have for someone so deeply. And what's crazy is you don't even have to have sex with the person. You can love a dog. You can love a child, like your child, but if they died, it would change you. Your parents' death. And you feel like you're never the same again. You feel like you lost a part of yourself. It's because you did. It is a physical existence in your brain that no longer gets to exist. I mean, imagine if an alcoholic, suddenly they just popped into a universe where alcohol doesn't exist. But they're still alcoholic. And you're like, I'm confused. What do you mean it doesn't exist anymore? And it's a form of hell. And so when you're overcoming heartbreak, it's because that neural pathway associated with oxytocin is so strongly reinforced after years of spending time with someone, even if they drove you crazy, even if you guys fought like cats and dogs, it doesn't matter. As long as you love them, you can have associations of cortisol because they stress you out, but associations of oxytocin. And when the oxytocin no longer gets its source, the neural pathways, they almost have to die. Now, they never truly will, which makes it worse. It's why you can recall, you probably have some level of feelings or respect or regard for any ex you've ever had ever, or crush you've ever had ever. It's because that pathway still exists. Now, an addict knows, a recovered addict or recovering addict, as it were, knows that you can never just get rid of the thing. You have to replace it. Now, ideally, there's some form of religious transformation involved, but we're not covering that, right? We're simply saying you can't just quit smoking or quit drinking. You have to do something else to occupy your time. Why? Because if cortisol kicks in, which is the stress hormone, you no longer have access to your prefrontal cortex and you're more likely to engage in the thing because your brain is operating on impulse at that point. So, how is that relevant? The 4 happy chemicals, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphin, they actively reduce your cortisol level as you increase the happy chemical, basically. That's why going to the gym, going for a run, going for a walk helps reduce stress. It's because you're releasing endorphin, reduces stress. It's why when you're sad and you need a hug, stress goes down, oxytocin goes up. Make sense? It's why when you're proud of yourself, serotonin goes up, stress goes down. Even though, you were working 3 days, no sleep to achieve whatever milestone at work you needed to achieve. Serotonin up, stress down. Dopamine, right? Same thing. Dopamine goes up, cortisol goes down. So you have to replace the source of oxytocin or a source of oxytocin in order to regulate your brain so cortisol doesn't take over. Are we following so far? We'll assume yes.
See,
All right, cool. Am I losing anybody? How's the connection?
everything's good over here.
Cool, perfect. Okay, any questions so far? Need me to elaborate on any of the chemicals? I'll say no. Okay. All right. So then, yes, what the hell is confidence? Confidence is I know that if I go up and talk to a girl, that, let's use a different color. I don't know, yellow. That if I go up and talk to a girl, that's the action. So talk to, let's just say, stranger. Okay? That not only can I do that, but I can get that person to like me with a shocking degree of accuracy, like really quickly. That's what I do as a trained social engineer. Okay? Now, what does that do? That means that if I think she's attractive, my, man brain will be excited for various reasons, but I get the dopamine. If somebody's like, hey, bro, I bet you can't talk to her. And I was like, you want to bet? And then I do it and it works out well, I get serotonin. And then the connection that I get with her obviously gives me oxytocin. Now, I don't really get endorphin, but, maybe later in the night I will. Who knows? But you can see how this becomes a chemical cocktail of sorts. Call it the happy chemical cocktail of attraction. Because so far, contextually, I've described how you trigger these chemicals in your brain to feel something about not only yourself, but someone else. The goal is that you want them to feel these things about you, primarily oxytocin. See, because we can trade like our understanding of love and connection for like the chase, which as a culture we've done horribly, like in not a good way. Like we should not value the chase more than the connection itself, because what that means is we get dopamine as our high and we do not get oxytocin, right? Oxytocin, like we're just emotionally unavailable. We can discard people left and right. I was really just looking for the chase of, can I sleep with her? I got her. Cool. I'm done. By the way, women have this issue too. I like the chase. I like the back and forth. And then we slept together and I'm bored now. You're satiated. You got your dopamine hit. It was never about oxytocin. So that's why some guys can relate to the fact that, yeah, I have slept with countless women and I cannot get over my ex. You're right. It's because you think you're solving an oxytocin problem with the dopamine problem and you don't know how to to you, it just doesn't make sense. It's like it makes perfect sense. You just don't know what you're doing. Tracking so far?
Yep.
Cool. All right. So you talk to a stranger, you get rewarded, you trigger these chemicals in their brain, and you have attraction. Okay. Now, cortisol. Let's revisit cortisol again for a moment. Cortisol is the stress hormone. It's basically designed to protect you. Which, by the way, if I can give you a rule for understanding human behavior, it's that human beings, our brain is designed to keep us alive, not make us happy. So that's why we make fear-based decisions far more than we make like opportunity-based decisions. Like, there's an opportunity to go approach a girl, but you're like, I'm nervous, so you don't do it. Even though like you're lonely and you hate the fact that you don't really have any friends or you're a girlfriend or anything, right? Because the moment cortisol kicks in, you're like, I'm good, never mind, I'm safe. I'd rather not die by getting rejected socially. So that's how it works. Yeah, so a stranger is not a stranger. I've repeated this in a different class and I'll probably repeat it again just for all the newcomers. But a stranger is not a stranger. It's not a neutral nobody. A stranger is an anomaly and a possible threat. Why? Because human beings are fucking crazy. Like our closest relative is a chimp and they rape and murder each other for sport. Like we're insane. It's a miracle that society functions. And so your brain knows it's a lot safer to treat a stranger as a threat than it is to just assume that they're kind and friendly. And if your brain is naive, you become cynical very quickly. So you learn not to do that. Which means that you, as a stranger, kind-hearted as you may be, are a threat to everybody that doesn't know you. It's why the strange woman who's attractive and smiling and beautiful as she may be is the threat to your brains while it's releasing cortisol. And I figured this out because I used to have massive social anxiety. Like I would get knots in my back so physically painful that I had to like leave the room just to breathe. And I realized, because I was learning these skills, that if I would just meet people and introduce myself, that my irrational fear of like being surrounded by a bunch of people I didn't know dissipated and my body could relax. So I didn't learn this from a textbook. I mean, I learned the concepts from a textbook, but then I pieced a bunch of things together by putting it into action and also doing this shit for 10 years. So once I could release serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphin in a social setting, even if it's platonic, meaning not romantic or sexual, right? I could be talking to a bunch of dudes, it doesn't matter. My cortisol level went down because my brain, my nervous system no longer felt like I was surrounded by a bunch of threats. And so if you see a woman who has resting bitch face or like comes off as unapproachable, sometimes her biggest complaint is like, I know I have this resting bitch face, but like I'm actually really sweet if people got to know me. The problem is we all think we're threats by default. That's by design. You get to overcome that and be amazing. And everybody gets to be like, wow, dude, who the fuck are you? Like you can walk into any room and people just love you. It's like, yeah, because I know how to make people smile and laugh, right? Check. I know how to make them feel good about themselves so they feel a sense of pride, right? I know how to give them fun so they're excited to hang out with me. And so nobody is nervous around me. In fact, they all just fucking love me. And I can do that over and over and over and over and over as many times as I want in a single given night. And then I introduce groups because I'll be like, hey, it was good. It was nice meeting you guys. I'm actually going to go mingle around and make new friends. Like, didn't you come alone? It's like, yeah, totally did. Now I'm going to make more friends. And be like, hey, Samantha, this is Jason. You know, he works in marketing. I know you were saying something earlier. I figured I'd introduce you to. And you're like, hey, Samantha, hey, Jason. And you introduce people. But like now, again, you get a massive amount of serotonin. People love you. You get oxytocin. And your social anxiety disappears through action rewarded neurochemically. And so that is confidence. That's competence on a social level. And I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Dating is a social skill. I don't care if you're learning how to play basketball. It's a skill. Football, it's a skill. Anything you do is skill-based. Professional swimming, professional running, skill-based. There's strategies to do it. Dating is a social skill. Confidence is your ability to duplicate results over and over and over in a positive way. Now, if you can do that and replace your source of oxytocin genuinely, like it means like, yeah, you can have sex with people, but like having sex is more about the connection and the vulnerability and like, you know, I really like this person, God forbid, then it doesn't mean you don't miss your ex, but it does mean that your level of neediness is not there. Your level of desperation of like, you know, why did she leave me isn't there because you have other people clearly want you. So your serotonin gets boosted. Your oxytocin gets boosted. And if you're qualifying people properly using the attraction formula, which you should show up to if you're like, what's qualification? Qualification is finding the right person in minutes. And I mean minutes. Not days, not hours, not months, minutes. And so the more women and people that you can surround yourself with that are genuinely good for you, like they add to your life, you have fun with them, you can move on from your ex really quickly. Now, there's a lot of people that would say, well, that seems a little disrespectful. It's like totally fair. If you want to grieve, you can grieve. You will have moments where you're going to grieve regardless. That's going to happen. But if you think that somehow by the length of time it takes you to grieve, that means that like the relationship meant more, and if it, you know, you don't grieve as long, then it doesn't mean as much, you'd be mistaken. Because that's a cultural belief, not a matter of fact as far as the human animal is concerned. I'll give you an example. In our culture, if somebody dies, we grieve. But in a lot of cultures, in say Southern America, there are cultures that celebrate a life lived, not necessarily a life lost. And so they have Dia de los Muertos, which is the Day of the Dead, where they celebrate the people that are, they're dead now, but they celebrate them. And so there's a really good quote that I would love to find and pull up, but it's saying something like, oh, I see the problem. You thought that your cultural conditioning was an immutable truth, something like that. It was an obscure quote from like a famous author. But like the idea is what most people generally think to be a fact of life is really just your own cultural, social condition. And like, fair enough, nature versus nurture. Nurture is a thing. Culture is a thing. Yep, 100%. But the thing that is the most predictable, I don't care what culture you are. I don't care what sex you are. I do not care. For the human animal, the thing that is the most predictable is understanding nature. Because if you understand that part, you can get along with anybody. And if you can get along with anybody, then you feel confident in your ability to talk to and engage with anyone. So that's confidence, like real confidence. Cool. We have about 20 minutes left. I'm down to jump into Q&A if anybody has any questions. TLDR, how do you get over your ex? You replace the source of oxytocin. Respectfully, but like actually. You never want to sleep with somebody to be spiteful to an ex and be like, fuck you, I'm going to get over you, watch. Like, you don't want to do that. You want to do it because it's actually good for you. All right, let's see. How many people are still here? Quite a bit.
Hey, I'm sorry, my English is not really good, but can I ask some question?
Yeah, please. My English
so
is
the
great, so I
summary
got
is
us.
like, yes, thank you. So what I got is like the fastest way to get over a girl or someone is probably just like, talk to a lot of people. Is that true? Is that correct? Like, it doesn't matter if I, romantically want to engage with them or not. I just like talk with a lot of people as much as I can.
1,000%. That's exactly right. The deeper connections you form with them, the more oxytocin your brain gets to experience. But yes, 100%. Because also, like, when you're grieving, understandably, you're also going through a bit of depression. Like, obviously you are. So yes, you should go out and meet new people and create new experiences and feel good about the fact that you're overcoming a very difficult time in your life and being vulnerable. And, I would tell people like, yeah, I'm moving on. Like, it hurts, but I'm not someone that wants to sulk. And you'll get a lot of praise for that because everybody knows how hard it is to overcome heartbreak. And they'll be like, wow, it's amazing. Good for you, man. It's like, thank you. And you get to humbly accept that. You get some serotonin. Maybe somebody taps you on the shoulder, like, that's brave. Thanks, oxytocin. But yes, that's exactly right.
This is actually like really, really nice insight for me, but for my case, it's like, I've been like isolating myself in my room for like a week now.
Okay.
Since I broke up with my girlfriend, I just like got depression. I just like, drink medicine to increase my serotonin level and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
the thing is like, I tried to talk with a lot of people, but it just like, I don't have any energy to do that. It's like, I cannot think straight. It just seems like, I feel numb. I cannot feel anything. So that's, I think, kind of hard for me to do because like, it seems like I don't have that energy to talk to people, even though I want to talk to people. But yeah, so that's the thing.
That's a matter of low dopamine. So my question for you, and this is a very random question, and I might be off the mark completely, but do you have? Does it show his email? Who are we talking about? Sorry, my assistant texted me. Do you have ADD or ADHD? Do you think you do?
I don't know. I don't know
Okay,
about
totally
that.
fair. So when you're depressed, most people who've ever experienced depression, like, they just have no motivation to do anything, right? Like, they want to lay in bed, curl up in a ball, and like, even the things that they're most passionate about, they don't care. Life is gray, right? Like, that's We can all kind of relate to that. So that's a function of serotonin being down. But when you have no motivation, also a function of dopamine being down. And so, you have this cortisol that's being released because your source of oxytocin is gone, also, by the way, down. And so cortisol is just through the roof, and it's it's a reinforcing cycle in the negative where, action is rewarded through neurochemicals. In this case, the action is to isolate. Cortisol spikes up anytime you think about getting out of the house. So you're like, well, I'm not going to do that. And then you don't. And so again, your brain is designed to make you feel safe, not make you happy. So if you isolate yourself at your own detriment, but you're safe, then your brain feels like it did its job. The problem is your prefrontal cortex isn't happy about that shit because it doesn't feel like it's in control, and it's not because cortisol is cutting off access. So how can you shock your nervous system to reduce cortisol and increase the happy chemicals? Well, one way to do it, and I think I heard you say it, you take meds. Maybe you're on antidepressants. That's one way to do it. But fundamentally, you'll never think your way out of stress, ever. It's not possible. So think stress, okay? You'll never think your way out of it. You can only act your way out of stress. Why? Because of everything we talked about with these neurochemicals. They are action-based triggers. So you can go to the gym, you can go for a walk, you can go for a run, right? Do what you can is usually the clinical advice for depression. Do what you can when you can. That's right. You should do what you can when you can. One of the pro tips that I would offer you, and I don't think many people would offer this advice, is if you can manage it, if you can't, this is moot. But if you can manage it, take a cold shower. I know that sounds counterintuitive because that sounds stressful and you're spiking cortisol. But what's really interesting about cortisol and dopamine is they have an inverse relationship with one another. Kind of like how I said, if you increase serotonin, cortisol goes down. Yes. But dopamine and cortisol are more linked than the other neurochemicals, for sure. So if cortisol spikes intentionally, like going to the gym, going for a run, taking a cold shower, then on the back end of it, for literally no reason, you get dopamine. Similarly, if you get cheap dopamine without having earned it and you get a huge spike of dopamine, let's just say this is dopamine all of a sudden, right? And dopamine's up here and I don't know, anyone that's ever done drugs or gotten, a hangover, I feel great. And then for no reason, automatically I can anticipate that I'm going to feel like shit. Cortisol spikes. So whichever one you're willing to do voluntarily, you get the other by default. It's going to happen. If you're willing to stress yourself out, you get dopamine, which by the way means you get motivation. In fact, you get so much motivation that a cold shower for, I think it's 2 minutes. My numbers could be wrong there, but fundamentally, if you're willing to endure a cold shower for a while, you get the same amount of dopamine as you would from cocaine, except instead of a couple minutes, it's 5 hours with none of the downside. And if you're like, I don't feel motivation, well, for 5 hours you will. For 5 hours you
It's
will.
kind of interesting, but is it the same with doing self-harm kind of thing?
Yeah.
Because if you do self-harm, yeah.
Yep, because endorphin is the brain's natural painkiller. This is why teenagers cut. I'm not promoting that, by the way. I'm just saying that's why the human animal does weird shit like that. It's because when you cut yourself, you get a release, your brain triggers endorphin, it's a natural painkiller, and so you feel good on the back end of it. But it's the same thing I was just saying. It's if you're willing to confront stress and pain, no idea what that was, then on the back end of it, you get positivity. Same thing. Cutting yourself, very scary. But if you do it, by the way, don't do it. But if you did it, you get endorphin. Going for a run, really shitty. But if you do it, you get endorphin. That's how it works. There's an inverse relationship with these things.
I see. Thanks a lot, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got it.
Cool.
But you know what? I don't know if do you know any ways, the easiest way, to get endorphins? you know,
To get
like
endorphin, the
body.
easiest way?
Yeah.
Cold shower.
Yeah,
Like,
beside that, because like
but
there's no cold shower here, bro.
the
Like
second
it's
easiest.
hot.
Go to the gym. And if, by the way, you don't feel like you have the motivation to go to the gym, what I would do is I would go to like a local GNC and be like, "Hi, I'm not used to going to the gym, and I've heard that pre-workout is a really good way to overcome that. Because if you know anything about pre-workout, and what's your name, by the way? I'm so sorry, I don't even see you.
Ivan.
Ivan. Okay, yeah. If you know anything about pre-workout, have you ever taken pre-workout before I make this suggestion?
No, no, no.
No? Okay. So I'm going to scare you, but I promise you, anyone that's taken it's like, yep, I know what you're talking about. And like, it's very easy to fall in love with it. Pre workout makes your face itchy with some pre workouts. It will make your face itchy and your whole body intolerably itchy on purpose. It's what it's supposed to do. And the only way to get rid of it is to actually work out or run. There's no other way to get rid of it unless you let time pass. And so if you have pre-workout next to your bed and like you've already mixed it and like maybe you just you put it in a bottle so it's secure and like, yeah. And then you wake up in the morning and you're like, I feel like shit. You have a bottle of pre-workout, you chug it, and you can actually chug it because it tastes good, and then give yourself permission to be like, oh, I'm not going anywhere. But in 5 minutes, you can be like, what in the fuck is happening right now? And you'll go. Because it's more painful than staying still. And that's how I hacked myself into going to the gym as often as I did. I used to be a gym rat. Now I'm kind of getting a little fat, so I need to go back. But let me build this business up first.
But wait, I'm kind of confused though, because like, I don't know, before you say that how to get over, a person fast is like to talk with a lot of people. And by talking to a lot of people, we are increasing our dopamine, right?
Our
It's
dopamine, our
not actually
oxytocin,
like
and our
we are,
serotonin, but yes.
yeah, but we are actually not hurting ourselves at all, right?
No, not at all.
It, it,
But overcoming the stress of I'm going to talk to this person and I don't know how to do it, that's scary. That's hard. Most guys will not do it. It's so scary that I had a college roommate once who's he's tall, he's good looking, blonde hair, like funny as fuck, like one of my best friends, quite frankly. And when we were growing up, like I didn't have these social skills. I was a socially awkward kid. And so I'd see him like pull these fucking gorgeous women all the time. Threesomes left and right. Like he had swagger, he had charm. He was a basketball player for the university. Like he was good looking and he had social game. And so eventually, I learned these skills and we reconnected after so many years. And I was like, hey man, let's go to the bar. Let's just hang out, we'll catch up. And he's like, yeah. So we go to the bar and there's a bartender who's really attracted. He makes the comment that he's attracted to her. And I was like, bro, go talk to her. And he's like, fuck that. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm not going up to talk to her. I was like, dude, I've seen you pull gorgeous women day after day, year after year. Like, why? And he's like, yeah, they talk to me. He goes, I'm not fucking going up and approaching the women. That's scary. Like, my brain exploded. I was like, how can you be that good with women and not know that you can pull any woman you really want to if you just did it? It's because his action reward was women approach him. Therefore, he didn't have to get over that fear of cortisol. So the moment cortisol kicked, he didn't know what to do. It short-circuited his brain. And that's why you can outgame most men. I don't care what they look like. I don't care how much money they have. I don't care how good looking they are. I don't care how jacked they are. If you can approach and run game and trigger these chemicals, you will outgame, and I mean this, 99.9% of men on this planet. Because even if they have everything going for them, they're still too afraid to approach. So you win by default. That's the thing that you're like, wait, but if you just go and approach people, how does the balance tip? Well, it tips because approaching people is scary. It's hard. Even though I know I can do it, every single time, my brain is like, fuck, I don't want to do this. Every single time. It's kind of like a cold shower. Nobody ever wants to take a cold shower. But you do it because you know what the back end is. You just learn to ignore the stress so you can get the positive feeling. But you have to, I can tell you that all day long, but until you just do it, your cortisol will always override any motivation you have. So take the cold shower. Do the throwaway compliment openers. By the way, this is something I teach in the free calls. My favorite indirect opener for building confidence, not conversations, not getting laid, nothing like that. It's just building confidence. My favorite indirect opener is a throwaway compliment. So imagine you see a woman who's like put time and effort into her looks. Not that you think she's naturally beautiful and has pretty eyes and pretty hair. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like, you know, she's got highlights in with no roots, so you can tell she recently paid for it. Like her outfit matches with her, I don't know, her butterfly hair clip. Doesn't matter, right? Like she put effort into it. Men don't appreciate how much effort women put into their look, by the way. But if you notice it, and you can go up to her and just be like, with warm body language, right? So like I stop them with my hand, just to let them know that I'm coming up to say something. I go like this, I tilt my head to the side, that's body language. In nature, this is very vulnerable flesh. And so when you're fighting, you're protecting like this. And so when you expose it, you're basically saying, hey, I'm exposing myself to you, I'm not a threat. That's why like the classic bad boy look in movies, when like a guy's looking at a girl, he tilts his head to the side, it's body language. So I go, hey, with a smile, hey, I'm so sorry, I don't want anything from you. I just think you look absolutely gorgeous and you deserve to know it. I hope you have a great day. And then you walk away. You don't even give her a chance to respond. You do that 5 times, like think of it as a warm up to like a set that you're trying to do in the gym. But you do that 5 times and like your nervous system will start to redefine how it sees itself as far as attraction goes and how women look at you. Because you will make every single fucking woman melt. Because everybody that goes up to talk to her wants something from her. You just gave her a compliment, you made her whole day, and she will let you know. And the best part is, like 2 out of 10 times conservatively, she'll pull you back in. She'll be like, wait, who are you? Like, come here. Thank you so much. What's your name? That's when you're like, whoa, like women don't talk to me like this. What's happening?
Nice tip, bro. I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, you bet. Man.
Okay.
But you should be able to see, like, intuitively, this all works. Because no one's ever explained it to like this. Like, if you take a PhD in social psychology, they will not explain it like this. And yet, I don't care if it's a high school graduate or someone with a PhD, when you explain it like this, it makes sense. Because this is actually how it works. So for those of you that don't have a copy of my book, you should probably get it, because I teach all of it in there. Ta-da, you can get it on Amazon. Or you can join this program. But I'm not here to really pitch anything. I'm just saying, like, if this excites you the way that laughter definitely excited you, and it should, by the way, then have hope. And know that, you know, this might be an investment worth making. Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, dude, you bet. Does anyone else have any questions?
Everyone's time.
Yeah, damn it, Ivan. Just kidding.
Yeah, I'm done. Thanks, man.
Cool. Does anyone else have any questions?
No question, at least not yet. I just gotta say, this was so good. Honestly, I have no idea why it took me so long to get on one of these calls.
I don't either.
So
it's
good.
been frustrating the fuck out of me, actually. Like, legitimately, like, I text you all the time. Like, bro.
I know.
Bro.
Oh, man, this was so good. Honestly, I'm gonna go take cold showers from now on. Like, just, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna talk to everybody. Just, you know, like you said, maybe don't, you know, maybe not have an intention. Just talk to them. You know.
Yep.
And also go to the gym. I'm gonna start doing that too.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Yeah, because like, so you're saying that you kind of getting over the difficult part, you know, going through the cortisol thing. If you do that, like the result will be the dopamine and the
Provided
rest.
you get what you're looking for.
Oh, provided I get what I'm looking for.
Right.
Okay.
Because if you're chasing a result and you don't get it, your brain doesn't reward you for it.
Okay.
Right? So
Gotcha.
we have to be hyper specific about what goal we're chasing. If you think that every time I talk to a woman, I should be able to fuck her in 5 minutes, you're going to be very frustrated.
Yeah.
Even if you could talk to her for 30 seconds, like a pro, and you're like, but damn it, man, I couldn't finger her behind the bar. It's like, well, seriously, dude, like that's what you're beating yourself up about?
Right.
Right. So there's a specific aim.
Oh, so what should the goal be? Like
The goal
it
should
it
be,
should be kind of low bar, right?
so if you're inside of the school group, which I think all of you are except for one of you, by the way, you are welcome to invite friends to this as a one-time free gift. So
Cool.
any friend that you invite is welcome to attend one time for free. And the goal is I want to build value. And like if they do join, then I'll give you a commission for the fact that your friend joined and now you have a partner to go practice with. So fun fact, Ivan. But anyways, what was I saying?
The goal.
Yeah, there's a specific aim, right? So in the school group, there's the dating roadmap, and it's a self-paced way to measure aims from beginner, intermediate to advanced. Beginner is 100% platonic. It's I'm not going to add the pressure of romantic pursuits because like I'm too scared to do that right now. Dude, trust me, there's beginners that are at that level. They just don't even know how to talk to people. They're afraid of it. So the beginner level is purely just learning how to talk to people for like 5 minutes and doing that 25 times. You do that successfully. I'm not saying you have to time it or anything, but you do that successfully, then you can graduate to intermediate. Intermediate is about, okay, how do you get their number? How do you invite them to hang out with you? Not necessarily a date, but how do you get them to hang out with you? Then if you do that 10 times and you got 10 people to hang out with you more than once, then congratulations, you advance to advanced. And advanced is, how do you get multiple girlfriends at the same time? So,
Wow.
They scale up in difficulty for sure, but it's based on competence. Can you talk to them? Yes. Okay. Can you entertain them and invite them to do something? Yes. Well, good news. 1, you're not creepy. And 2, they want to hang out with you. Now let's add the attraction element and suddenly you have multiple girlfriends. Ta-da. That's how that works.
Wow. That's awesome. So just to start off, a simple aim, a simple goal could just be to say hi.
100%. That can be your goal. Now, I wouldn't say it's the most rewarding. I would say a better goal is I'm going to make someone's day 5 times today.
Right. Okay.
Right. So you want to quantify it. So you can say, I'm going to do the throwaway compliment opener 5 times. And if like one of them was just having a bad day and for whatever reason, like maybe they didn't hear you or they didn't know how to respond, right? Maybe you don't count that one. And you'd be like, all right, I got to do a 6th one because that one was fucking having a bad day, but whatever.
Yeah. Can you remind me of the compliment, like the throwaway compliment?
Yeah. So the throwaway compliment is with warm body language. Seriously, you don't want to be like, hey, I just want to let you know you look gorgeous. I hope you have a great day. Like you really need to be conscious about your body language. So you want to go, hey, I'm so sorry. I don't want anything from you. I think you just look absolutely gorgeous and you deserve to know it. That outfit's working for you. Have a good day. Walk away.
Nice.
Some variation of that, right? Like use words that you would use, but like that's the point.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Keith, you got something, big dog? Oh.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to unmute. I'm at the gym. I just drank my pre-workout, so I have to be here. Otherwise,
yeah, exactly.
What will happen.
Telling you, Ivan, you have if you take the pre-workout, dude, you have to be there. There ain't no backing out. Like that's what I love about pre-workout.
No, it was a good meeting. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Good, man. I'm glad, and I hope you stay with us. By the way, I got a whole lot more to teach, man. This is one class out of like forever classes that I'm going to be teaching. So seriously, there's a shit ton of value to be learned here.
Yeah, I got something out of this one, so you're growing on me.
Thanks, man. Must be that oxytocin.
Yeah, it is. I will see you tomorrow. I gotta go.
All right, big dog. Enjoy your workout.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Cool. Any other questions? Tyler, I don't recognize your name. I'm so sorry, buddy. If you have questions or, say hi, you totally can. I don't bite. But if I do, I promise to release some endorphin, so I'm just kidding. Man, I hope he's listening. Otherwise, that was like an awkward gay joke. Whatever. All right, Dwight, Ivan, Lewis, anyone else have any questions for me?
Not so far. Everything was great today, so thank you.
Dope. Yeah, man, you bet. Tyler, no thanks. Okay. All right. All right, cool. That's it, man. That's all I got. Hope you have a good one, and I'll see you guys at the next one tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, see you.
Hey, Ivan, are you cool if I get like a feedback from you at the end of this? Like, I won't pitch you anything if you don't want to, but like my goal is just to get like, hey, you're not part of the school group. What did you think being invited in? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I, 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 I don't really have any feedback though. Yeah, I think this class
Well, it
was
would be
really,
me
really,
asking
really
questions
great.
kind of thing. Like that's what I mean.
Yeah, but the thing probably is a small feedback because like, I know what dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and other, that kind of thing. But it's probably nicer if you can put like a little description beside that, so people can just like remember like, oh, this thing means this thing means this.
Yeah, I would
Instead of like remembering it.
I would say take notes, but yes, we can do that. Or you
Yeah,
can get a
yeah, I
copy of
think
my
that's.
book because that's literally where the descriptions are. But,
You
yeah.
say you're not pitching anything.
Yeah, I know, right? But like, it's there.
Man. I mean, like, but really, thanks, man. Thanks a lot, man. I think I know what should I do after this,
Okay, perfect.
because like I've been like isolating myself too much. I think.
Cool. I understand.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
All right, boss. Well, you have a good one. I'll reach out to you in the DMs for that feedback questionnaire. Cool?
Cool.
All
Will
right,
do. Will
gang.
do.
Bye.
Okay.